up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Justice Whole Package and Cuz, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic: Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1997. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at our wrestling channel. On social media, Jess would love you so much if you gave him a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019.
Listen to Kevin
Facebook
and Rogers'
Raw
special
Wrestling
recap
podcast. Well, they're better.
Or the podcast where they don't think Randy Orton is worthy of a Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't you follow people that don't make any sense? How about that? First of all, would you just look at the three of us? We're the original three.
Cause it's always right in the rest of us around.
Cuz makes up too many songs that I did not say. It's the three. It's the original three right now. Cuz Jess and Dave.
And maybe you
breaks off. Shocker.
In 2022. It's crazy right now, and we're gonna do. But Cuz probably got super excited when he saw this topic. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin 1997, which
That shakes my boner.
I would say business-wise, 98, 99 obviously were meteoric years for him. But 1997, the whole year in its totality. Oh, yeah, I dropped that shit on you.
Totality.
From January to December of 97 was, to me, and tell me if I'm wrong or you guys disagree, probably the most important, influential year in Austin's career. You could argue
it's the bedrock. It's the foundation.
We're going to start out. A lot of shit that happened in '96 also contributed. I'm not suggesting that because there's a particular promo that happened in '96 that Dave will read a little bit. But I'm saying they kind of figured him out in '97, and he figured out how to present himself. There was an unfortunate incident that we'll get to that happened in '97 that actually ended up making him even bigger. They were figuring out the rest of the card. NWO was on fire here. NWO was like the number one thing. WCW was number one and kind of beating the shit out of him in '97. And Austin was like this bright light. Like you would watch the rest of the product and you could see Vince struggling to figure out what worked. But then every segment that Austin was in '97, you're like, that fucking works. Like that's the guy. Like he came up with his music at the end of '96. The don't. They put the glass on it. Like it's just everything kind of fell into place in '97. It's a historic.
When you hear the glass, it's your ass.
Well done. Austin's rise to stardom began in 1996 at the King of the Ring, where he won the tournament by defeating Jake the Snake Roberts. At the time, Roberts was portraying a born-again Christian, which inspired Austin to ad-lib a famous promo during his coronation as King of the Ring, mocking Roberts' religious faith and proclaiming the now iconic phrase, Austin 3:16 says what?
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
Come on, that's not necessary.
All he's got to do is go buy him a cheap bottle of Thunderbird and try to dig back some of that courage he had in his prime. As the King of the Ring, I'm serving notice to every one of the WWF superstars. I don't give a damn what they are. They're all on the list, and that's Stone Cold's list, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them.
What was it that because in the Savio Vega match, in the King of the Ring match earlier, he bit his tongue, went to the hospital.
It was Mark Merrill.
Or Mark Merrill, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And then he came back and I think PSA.
He get stitches in his bottom lip, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, hey, you're up next or whatever. You're gonna cut a promo after you win. And he's like, well, what did Jake say? And they said, he said this, and that. He's like, all right, Bible 3:16. Like he was figuring out, I guess, as soon as he got back.
And do you remember an interview on his podcast? Austin said that in his mind, he's like, I gotta get in. I have to get in my new catchphrase because Stone Cold said so. So like in his mind, that was going to get it over. But when he cut the 3:16 promo and the crowd popped, he didn't know it yet. Like, I mean, he knew the crowd cheered, but in his mind, he's like, say Stone Cold says so. Say Stone Cold. Because he wanted that to be his catchphrase. So when he came back, he's like, yes, I got because Stone Cold said so. And they're like, no, you said the thing about Austin 3:16. And then they said literally the next night on Raw, you saw Austin 3:16.
All the signs,
3:16 signs.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So what a great time.
Yep. Austin's win and rise to stardom proved to be an unexpected stroke of luck. Hunter Hearst Helmsley was originally scheduled to win that tournament, the King of the Ring, but plans changed since he was punished for taking part in the curtain call incident. Just to touch on it briefly, Sean's champion, can't punish him. The other two left, can't punish them.
Oh, hey, Vince, you can't punish me.
So Triple H takes the fall for all of that, by the way. And guess what? He's running the company now. So,
Who's got the last laugh now?
yeah. Hey, Vince, that's what you get. This is my
What did you
master
tell me,
plan
Vince?
for
I
20
This
years.
is plan
Had to
all
learn to
along.
read
Yep.
shit and
Take
like
you out. I recorded all those hush money.
Yeah.
What did he say? He said he remember Vince pulled him aside and just said, "You're gonna have to learn how to eat shit and like it.
Yeah.
'Cause I have to show the boys that you can't do what you did." And like he's like, "All right, like fine, sounds good. One
You know,
day
it's
I'll
sta-
marry
I
your
hate to
daughter
say
and
it,
I'll
sta-
He
take
said
your
the same
company.
thing to him when Vince had to step down. Vince, you're gonna have
One
to
day
eat
I'll
shit.
marry your daughter and take your
Hey,
company."
hey, Vince, you're gonna have to eat
Yeah.
shit till you die because I run this now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
it's terrible. No, it's all good.
Oh, this guy was a
Austin
dubstep.
316 ultimately became one of the most popular catchphrases in wrestling history, and one of the best-selling
Exactly.
T-shirts in WWE merchandise history. They're still selling them today,
Oh yeah.
and people don't. Those kids don't even know what it means. WWE history would have you believe Austin launched into superstardom right after this famous Austin 316 promo. However, that isn't exactly what happened.
You can always tell
didn't.
a and again, you can't help when you're born and when you become
They're
a
like
fan.
316, bro, and then it
I'm
was
glad
on.
you're a fan, but if you look at all the WWE documentaries, it's like Austin 316 interview was cut, and then off to
And
the
we're off to
races.
the
It wasn't.
races.
They struggled
Nope.
with him. Austin wins the King of the Ring. He wasn't even on the SummerSlam main card, which was their next big
No.
pay-per-view there in '96. He beat Yokozuna in the free-for-all, which was like a dark
Yep.
match, basically, is what it was like back in
Yeah.
the day. So like they didn't know what to do with him yet until Dave's going to read on here about who asked him to come back when
there
when
was
he
a
came
there
back.
was a there was a very gentle man by the name of Bret the Hitman Hart who said, I'm gonna wrestle that guy. So
So I wanna
Austin
work
would
with
be in
Vince.
limbo until Survivor Series 96 when Bret Hart hand selected him
Some of the best
to
promos
be
right
his
there.
opponent at the pay-per-view there.
Well, I'm glad you
97
said that
sorry,
because
best
when I
promos.
did this episode, I was hoping you were going to be on because you always talk about those promos.
Oh yeah.
Talk about the fence, the dogs barking, like all
Yep,
this
the black
different
and
shit.
white.
It was
Woo,
like
woo,
that. It was
woo,
a
woo.
WC. It was NWO. It was NWO.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Before it- well,
I
not
never
before
once
it.
thought Austin was copying him copying
No.
the NWO.
No.
You never thought that. You just saw WWF finally catch up. When I saw those promos, I'll let you talk about it. But I mean, like when I saw those promos, I finally felt like finally they're fucking catching up. As a fan, I was like, finally they're figuring out how to be cool like the other channel. Like,
Pink tights. What the hell is that all about, this Brett? No ballet class. Sunglasses and sparklers. What a load of crap. So, Brett, you're coming back to continue a legacy? Stone Cold's gonna make your comeback a living hell. You can start begging for some mercy right now. Beg for you're mercy. You're not gonna find it. I think you're completely pathetic. You're the best there is, was, and ever will be, whatever. Son, you're looking at the best there Austin is. 316, oh, Brett, the whole world knows that you quit because you lost to Shawn Michaels. The pretty boy, the boy toy, kicked your ass back to Canada. You couldn't face yourself, and you damn sure couldn't face your family. Away in shame.
It just made him more like it was like raw and gritty, and it made him more real. Like you actually believed like that was him. Like you actually believed like
that he hated Brett.
that he might
like,
that he hated Brett, that he could be literally just standing in an alleyway with dogs barking right next to him as he's just sitting there up against the brick wall in his vest and jean pants and talking about like, I'm gonna kick your pink and black ass all around that arena. And then
So good.
the best line, as serious and as raw as it was, the best line is still, he's all, you got beat by Shawn Michaels, the pretty boy, the sexy boy. I ain't no sexy boy. Like just with the ominous
I ain't
music
no
playing in the background.
sexy
and
boy.
the more famous line too that everyone just plays now, like all the documentaries, it's like, if you put an S in front of Hitman, you have my exact opinion of Bret Hart. Like it's so fucking good. And again, you would only saw that grit on the other channel with the NWO, but then you got to see this guy that was talking shit on Bret Hart. Like
It's still
what?
the best,
Like
yeah. It's
yeah,
some of
Bret
the
was a
best promos
face
ever.
when he came back, and yeah, if Bret didn't say like, I really like Austin, who had already proved himself, like we talked about numerous times. Dave and I did the Hidden Gems, the King of the Ring '97. We're gonna talk about that with Sean and Austin. how good that match was and how people forgot
Yeah.
about it. But I mean, it's because of the fact that like Brett put him on the map. Brett just said,
Yeah.
I really like him.
That's what I wanna
Earlier
work
in
against
'96, after Shawn won the
Austin.
title, they had Austin do the tour around the Horn on the house shows with Shawn, and they tore the house down every time. They just didn't know what Austin's character was before the Austin 316 promo. They didn't know what
It was
Austin's
right in front
character
of
was
us.
going to be. So now Brett brings him out on TV going, dude, for the past year, this guy's been tearing the house down with Shawn. How do you not fucking see that Austin's super
Yeah.
talented? And this is before he gets dropped on his head. Austin was a fucking
Yeah.
really good wrestler.
He
Really
is.
good. I mean,
He was.
there
Yeah.
numerous people in WCW were like, this Steve Austin guy's fucking good. Like, he's really good. He understands. He always looked a little awkward when he would move in there, but that was Austin's flavor. It was just the way,
That
but
was
his
just his way
timing was
he worked.
always fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Austin was excellent. And the fact that we got to see Austin with Brett when Steve was healthy still before the unfortunate incident that Dave will talk about is all gold. I mean,
Yeah.
Shawn
Oh, yeah.
versus Austin at King of the Ring. Brett, you know, Dave will
Yeah.
Dave just started talking about the Survivor Series. Go ahead. I know we're not even into '97 yet, but all
Yeah,
this stuff
we
was
haven't
so
even
good.
started. Well, here's how it starts. Austin is still in the show at the 1997 Royal Rumble in January. He would clear the ring and wait for the next competitor by sitting on the top
yeah.
rope and pretending to look at his wristwatch.
Like right behind
Right, yeah.
Dave. Again, there's a lot of people actually. Like, remember the year that Diesel like he stole the Royal Rumble? Like he eliminated a bunch of people, and I think it was '94 or '95 or something like that. I think it was
Yeah.
'94, and it was '94. And there's always a star every year at the Rumble, and this was Austin's fucking year. Like because again, they were working with him. He was feuding with Brett. And I'll never forget when he sat up on the rope
Yep.
and he looked at his
Yep.
wristwatch. The whole fucking crowd laughed, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like this guy's
Yeah,
a
he's
star.
over.
Like
He's
and,
over.
Yeah,
He's so over.
yeah. He was just
Austin-
he was getting there.
He got him. Stone Cold all by himself again. Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you got to give credit where it's due. You may not like Stone Cold, you may not like his attitude, but Austin is a competitor.
Well, these 60,000 plus fans, I'm assuming, appreciate Austin's intensity. They certainly do not appreciate his attitude.
Austin would win the Rumble even though Bret Hart eliminated him. It wasn't counted because the referees were breaking up a fight on the opposite side of the ring when the elimination had actually happened. Austin would also compete in the Final Four in your house pay-per-view, but failed to capture the WWF World Championship belt there. He would continue his feud with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13, where he would pass out, kayfabe, due to blood loss in a submission match, thus causing him to lose. However, he showed so much heart and determination during the match, the crowd began to cheer for him there. This is considered to be, by many, the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. I will even take it a step further. One of the greatest matches of all time. It's a rare.
It is.
And
Dave
we do
Meltzer
got to pause
match
here
at this
because
time.
you can't.
Shamrock as the referee, everything made it.
Well,
I know it's been talked about.
Even Meltzer just gives it a 5-star match in WWF at this time. That was not common at all.
No.
Right.
And Meltzer had always been kind of a fan of Brett and Austin, especially, by the way. And like,
sure.
When you finally get like this golden opportunity, I mean, God, you can go back to this match now, today in 2022 and be like, what a fucking match. Like, yeah, because it's violent and like they hate each other. Oh, you think they hate each other.
Yeah.
And they were it was so good and everything was good. The spots in it. I mean, the double heel turn, it's been tried many times, or the double turn, the face, they turned Brett heel and Austin face. They tried it before with Demolition and Powers of Pain, didn't really work out well. And, it just hit with this. Everything they did in this feud, and especially this match, I know it's been talked about to death, but I can't talk about what this meant to Austin's career. It turned him fucking face. Even in a losing effort, it turned him face. And his T-shirt where he had his blood when he was trying to get up from the sharpshooter with the blood became iconic. That look of him.
Jess, you talk about this all the time. This is the double heel turn. I'm sorry, the double turn.
The double turn, yeah, where Brett turned heel and then Austin turned face. And they still didn't know what to do with Austin. They just knew we've got to do something with him. We don't know what. And
because
you know,
the crowd is
watching
clamoring
this
for
match
him.
tonight,
Yeah,
I remember living through this, and when Craig was, I think Craig and Joe came over for WrestleMania 13 to my house, and I remember Craig looking at me, and after that match, and Craig was like, "I don't know if I've ever seen a better match," and I was like, I don't think I have either," and we were just confused. We were both looking at each other, going like, "Was that the greatest match we've ever seen?"
We're back in the corral area, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
These men have spent about 30 seconds in the ring and several minutes outside, just beating the living heck out of each other. Get over there where you can hear him, Shamrock.
I mean, he's had some great matches with the likes of Benoit and Angle and Jericho.
That
and
is
all
true.
those
No,
guys,
that's a.
I mean,
you know
but
what? You're right. You're
but,
right with
but
it.
this
That's
is
a
like
good
the
point.
combination of everything, though. The character work, the storyline, the feud between Brett and Austin, and then you throw Ken Shamrock in there. He might be an afterthought in it, but he did his part. Everything. It was like perfect.
I'll never forget,
Everything was
Steve.
perfect.
If you do not answer, I will be
Yeah.
forced to ring the
Yeah.
bell. Like when he's like,
But then just the fact that he had to like grab Brett off, like that, like kind of shit right there too. Like the ref having, like, Shamrock having to kind of almost suplexing him off of Austin to get him off of him. Like,
yeah, and then Brett stood up and then
like
cowered out
protecting
and like
Austin and
just
stuff.
went out through
Yeah.
the middle ropes and
So
was
all
a
of
coward.
that,
Like,
yeah.
it's all
See,
good.
because
Yeah.
if it was a regular referee, Brett would have pushed. So that
Yeah.
it actually Shamrock added to that dynamic right there, where it was like, whoa, I'm not going to step up to Shamrock. Now I'm going to be a cowardly heel.
Yeah,
So,
it's.
you look
I
like
know
Goldberg.
it's been talked about to death, but if there's any match that people have talked about to death, and I'll still say, just go and watch it again. If you've watched it a million times,
I'm watching it
watch
tonight
it for
after
a
we get
million
off,
to one.
crack it open
If
some
you've
beers
never
and I'm gonna
watched it, you're crazy. If you've never watched it, you're crazy. I don't know how you haven't watched the match, but yeah, this started the march, and then what Dave will read on going on from there. Like it's just everything, just the cherry on the sundae. Like it's just
After the
fucking
races.
nuts. Yeah,
Then it was after the races.
yeah.
yeah.
On a June episode of Raw, Shawn Michaels would team with Austin and win the WWF Tag Team Championships from the Bulldog and Owen Hart. Michaels and Austin were portrayed as the odd couple team, not liking one another. I don't think people understand what the odd couple is, but
No,
I
it was a
do.
very dated reference. But Dave and I covered it, like I said earlier, in the archives. Hidden Gems, Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels, King of the Ring '97. Really fucking good match. Again,
For you,
another
for you young kids, just think about when you went to college and had to share a dorm room with someone. Yeah, that's the odd couple.
We have new tag team champions. But look at this. The Hart Foundation. It's all over Shawn Michaels.
Dude Love would soon replace Michaels and hold the tag titles with Austin for a brief period there in the 10-man tag event of In Your House Canadian Stampede on July 6, 1997. That's my birthday. Austin would get, so you got all my passwords now. Austin would get pinned by Owen Hart after, I'm just kidding, after a distraction. This would allow Austin to set his sights at his first singles gold in the WWF for the Intercontinental Championship. This is where it gets fun. I love all the photos and videos of Austin with the old school IC champion, just like behind Jess. It's
so good.
I love it. So good. At SummerSlam 97,
Wall of Austin right
would defeat Owen Hart to win the WWF Intercontinental title. However, this is where things get a little tough. It's hard to watch. In a later stage of the match, Owen would accidentally botch a reverse pile driver spot, causing Austin to crash down on top of his head, compressing his neck. Due to a severity of his neck injury, Austin was forced to relinquish both championships, the tag and the Intercontinental Championships, but he does roll Austin up to win that title. But I feel like we have to stop here and talk about this for a second. Like this is wild because Owen knows he hurt him. Obviously, he feels bad.
And it's weird that, in 2022, shit would be stopped quick. This was 1997. So Austin had a fucking awful neck injury at this point.
He said,
and the
I
ref's
can't
just
feel
stalling
anything.
for time. Owen's stalling for time. You see Owen look at the ref, and Owen's face turned ghost white because he's like, I fucking hurt him bad. And you saw Owen's face go, fuck. So Owen's trying to like dick with the crowd and walk around the ring while the ref's trying to get Austin up. Then the ref communicates with Owen, like roll up. And then you see Owen just fucking on purpose kind of roll back into Austin. And then Austin was, you could tell he couldn't feel his fucking
He's like-
limbs.
Austin. Somehow, and Austin now ready. Austin driving. No, pick it out!
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this bout and new World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion, Stone Cold Steve
Austin's hurt.
And he
Like with
just,
his
he
hands
rolled
trying
him
to-
up and then pinned him in a pin that a baby could have gotten out of. But like the end of the match was Austin wins the Intercontinental title. That was booked, right? So it's so fucking crazy. It exposed the business, but in a way, it launched Austin even further because like you admired his guts. You felt when we watched it live, I felt for him. I was like, oh my God, please like get up. Please, like you knew Austin was hurt and you knew it was real. There was no like, we always talk about today about the media scrum with Punk and all that stuff. Is it fake? Are they trying to do like you knew it was real? There was something that happened in this match when he dropped him on his head.
You
We
knew it was
all
real,
knew
and they were just trying
this
to
is
get
fucked
through
up.
to the
Like
finish.
this is weird. Like this is really bad and weird, and it happened. So Austin technically won his first ever WWF singles title here in the Intercontinental Championship, but it was going to be short lived because like soon after they realized like he's really fucking hurt. But they knew that they had fire with him, so they're like, we can't just take him off TV. Like he's got something. He went and saw doctors. They're like, he'll wrestle again eventually, but he's got to take time off. He's got to heal. He's got to do this. He really should have surgery, but they were like, no, like surgery means like a year off. We don't have that time. Like, so it's crazy how nowadays it would be handled way different. Austin would just be off TV for a year at this point, today in 2022, but not here. They're like, well, we're going to figure some shit out. Like, we're going to figure out how to get this guy back on TV. Crazy. I'm glad it happened back then, not because it was unhealthy, but because we never would have gotten Austin. If he got taken away for a year here, can you imagine? He would have lost all his momentum.
To your point, if Austin was healthy, we wouldn't get this next set, which is fantastic. On September 22nd of said year, the first ever Raw to be broadcast from Madison Square Garden, McMahon told Austin he wasn't physically cleared to compete, and after several weeks of buildup, Austin delivered his Stone Cold Stunner to McMahon, causing the fans in attendance to go literally ballistic.
We'd never
The
seen
roof
that.
came
We'd
off
always
this
known
place.
Vince as like the guy that Ventura would make fun of. You look stupid today, McMahon. Whatever, Jesse. Like we knew kind of through the steroid trial that Vince owned the company, but on storyline we were never told that. Now Vince finally said, "Well, I'm just going to start. I'm going to be like his foil. I'm going to tell people that you can't have him." And then what do you always want to do when you have a teenage daughter and you meet her boyfriend? I don't like that guy. Guess what she's going to do? She's going to sneak out the window every night and go see that guy because you don't like him. So Vince had the same philosophy. He's like, you know what? Like, if I tell the fans you can't have Austin, they're going to want him even more.
And I also appreciate the fact that, hell, you can kiss my ass.
Oh, God! Oh, my God! Put him in jail! Put him in jail right now!
But that before the screw job happened, he was working with Austin and becoming like this villain that we hated because they're like, you can't tell us we can't see Austin. Austin wants to wrestle. I'll sign whatever document. I'll sign whatever release. Like Austin was all that. And Vince was like, no, our insurance premiums will go through the roof or whatever. Yeah. And it was awesome. Like it was just, these are all interview segments and we're glued to them. 10, 15-minute interview segments. And
TV ever.
Developing his character. Some of the best TV ever, like Cuz just said.
So
and then
good.
He stuns Vince. He had stunned Slaughter before. He stunned Ross. Like he was getting up. He built up to Vince. Yeah, he built up to Vince. And Vince gave the worst stunner ever. But I mean, it didn't matter. The fact that he touched Vince finally and they were hinting that Vince was the leader of the company.
Austin Theory gave one of the best at WrestleMania last year. I'm just saying. So good.
Yeah, seriously.
Vince, one of the worst. Austin was actually arrested as part of that storyline and was sidelined until Survivor Series. However,
Wow.
in the interim, he made several
touched
appearances
on
like we
that,
talked
Dave.
about.
Hold on, Dave.
What?
How
What?
how the first stunner ever to Vince was one of the worst, and then the last stunner ever to Vince
It was worse than that somehow. It was
It was
somehow
worse than that
It's
somehow.
full circle
Yeah.
right there, baby. Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
Let's
for
go.
sure. So after I'm sorry, until Survivor Series, but in that interim, Stone Cold had made several appearances, one being at Bad Blood, where he was involved in the finish of a match between Owen and Farouk. Austin had hit Farouk with the Intercontinental Championship belt while the referee's back was turned, causing Hart to win the match. Austin's motive was to keep Owen as champion, as demonstrated when he interfered in the Hart matches on Raw. Austin would finally be cleared to get back in the ring and defeat Owen Hart properly at Survivor Series of 97 and become a 2-time WWF Intercontinental Champion.
Austin again. Oh, Austin, the stunner! The Stone Cold Stunner! Yes! Austin the champion! Steve Austin is the new Intercontinental Champion! Wait a minute! There's Team Canada's back! Furnace! LaFon! Stunner for your trouble! The Rattlesnake did it! Austin walks into hostile territory!
And then get into
Look at this ball ass cracker.
and then right after he started probably the most legendary feud of his career, besides Brett. But I'd say he starts a feud with The Rock. And that was that's the biggest feud
There you go.
of Austin's career. Like, I mean, really,
It
those
is.
two. Those two.
Yeah.
It's magic.
I mean, you get The Rock and McMahon in hindsight.
And The Rock
in a
was
2-year
just
period.
learning how to be a heel here. The Rock was just
Oh, yeah.
figuring it all out. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yep.
He was ready with the nation. He had already turned heel.
It's
So good.
Seriously, it's like this huge collision that's coming
Yeah.
on.
People
He did
forget
building
that
up.
on
Pressure's building
Austin's
up.
way up, not only did he win the IC title, I bet if you ask people right now, they would not remember that. And then, did you know that his first feud as IC champion was against The Rock? People would be like,
Right.
no, I didn't know that at all. Like, yeah.
Totally makes sense,
So
though.
good.
Austin had set his sights on The Rock, who stole Austin's championship belt after Austin suffered a beating by the Nation of Domination stablemates that The Rock was currently running. By the way, in the weeks to come, this is not your family's Rock. Just saying.
Yeah.
The Rock would begin declaring himself to be the best damn Intercontinental Champion ever. The Rock kept possession of the championship until D-Generation X in your house on December 7th. That is Craig's favorite pay-per-view, I think. Just kidding. When Austin defeated him to retain the championship and regain
Well,
the
we
belt.
talked about that too. That's I talked about that in the Rock versus Austin feud episode, and we did review D-Generation X. And that fucking IC title match, Austin was still not 100%. Even though he was cleared to wrestle, he was still learning a new style, and he was still hurt.
Be
And The
real,
Rock
Jess,
was
he was never the same.
The Rock
never
was
the same.
kind
Yeah,
of green here, but like, dude, The Rock got fucking stunned on the hood of the truck. Austin drove his goddamn truck down
That's
there.
right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is driving his pickup truck right up to ringside. I can't believe it! And there's the Intercontinental Champion. There's the Rattlesnake. There's the toughest SOB. Driver lace boots in the WWF.
He backdropped D'Lo Brown into the windshield, and then he stunned The Rock on the hood. And I'll never forget it. I know they had great WrestleMania matches afterwards, whatever, but in my mind, it's burned in my mind, him stunning
This is
it.
it.
The Rock on the hood of the fucking truck. I'll never forget it.
It's like they were already having a main event program before
Yeah.
they were the main event.
Yeah,
Like,
and they were only
that's-
doing it for the
that's
IC
how
title.
naturally
Yeah.
they gelled together. That's what was
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So
to watch.
Austin used his pickup truck to aid his victory. McMahon ordered him to defend the championship against The Rock the next night on Raw. In an act of defiance, Austin forfeited the championship to The Rock before tossing the belt into the Piscataqua. Hope I said that right.
That was another
River.
big thing too. They
That
wanted
That
to
was
get-
huge.
unfortunately, they wanted to get rid of the classic belt that you see behind me, and they wanted to introduce a new belt.
That's dumb.
Shit, sorry. They want to introduce a new belt, so they did a whole thing where Austin's like, "Fine, I forfeit the title." So he forfeits the title to The Rock, but he's like, if you want the belt, you're gonna have to fuck come and get it, and he throws it in the river. It's one of my favorite scenes.
It actually
too.
is a very iconic moment.
The biggest piece of trash I ever saw. It hurts me to do this, but I really don't give a damn about you or the WWF, so I'll see you a little bit later.
Oh, my. No! There goes the belt!
And that's the bottom line, because the 316 said so. You piece of trash. Let him swim out there and find the damn thing. If he's lucky, he'll find it. If he don't, maybe he'll drown. I really don't give a damn what he does.
1998 would be another meteoric year for Austin, but 97 may have been his most important and iconic. What do you guys say?
I mean, God, like, you ended the year in a feud that people to this day is like one of the great. It's why I got into wrestling, Austin versus Rock. Like a lot of people will say that. Like a lot of people, their feud, like
And Jess, by the way, he's not even a world champion yet.
Yeah.
No, and that's even more important. Like again, another trivia that most people that say the wrestling fans would fail, they would not ever guess that. How did Austin end 97? Nobody would say against The Rock. Nobody would say that. Like
they probably assume it was Michael's.
You think the WrestleMania, 15 match, you think all that, you don't think that they started feuding over the IC title, and they did, folks. Like, yeah, it's
I don't know, man. It's just crazy. Like every bullet point on this, it's a moment. It's a big moment. Whether it's him beating Jake and then cutting the
Austin had to run with that football though. Austin ran the plays, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I know it's easy to say. Like people don't like the sentence I'm about to say. People take for granted. He is one of the greatest wrestlers ever. Like, there's no question. And he understood. Austin was such a fucking good wrestler in his prime and before he got injured. And he was so fucking good. I don't. People forget it. Like his television championship run, his U.S. title run, like he was so good, and people forget it. That his mind never left. Yeah, he got dropped on his head, and his physical stuff had to change. But Austin always was so fucking good.
All the
like
time.
he's so good, and like I don't. It's easy to say that because everyone's like, "Well, duh, Stone Cold." I'm like, no, I don't think you realize
because it's popularity. They go by popularity.
Yeah, what made him great was he is so fucking good, and that's I know it sounds so simple to say, but he is so good. I can't say it enough. Like he is just probably the greatest wrestler ever. Like in the United States for
better
sure.
Than that old ass brother.
Like no, I mean Hogan. I take him off the list.
Brother.
I want to talk about him. But I mean, Austin, he did so much, and then what he did with Vince, he had to work closely with the owner of the company. Eventually, I know that's way beyond '97, but it started here, and just
I'm thinking about hitting you in the head with that frying pan.
Yeah,
there's so many funny stories. I did contemplate. I did '97 because '97 is how many years ago?
It is the most important year.
25.
25 years ago. So this is the 25th anniversary of that year. That was so pivotal in Austin's career. I almost did Austin 98 because there's a lot of real funny shit and bedpan scene and everything in 98. But I ended up wanting to do 97 because it was a 25-year anniversary and because the stuff that he did here really did set the way, really paved the way.
But look how memorable all these moments are that he created in 96 and 97. And he hasn't even won the title yet. And then he creates even more bigger and bigger moments after that. Like this is That's why he is the best because of all this right here. Just every bullet point right here is why he's the best.
Yeah,
best in the world. He's the best.
I can't
in the
disagree.
World. I remember, and we missed a couple of those promos that we gotta sneak in here somehow. Those ones I sent last night with him cutting those promos on Owen Hart, especially the one when he has the hunting gear on. And he shows
good stuff.
I'll put that in when he's out. I'll make sure because as soon as you sent those to me, I was like, oh, I'm putting these in for sure.
Great promo work there. It's fucking great.
And that's all he had to do. He was hurt. So they were just like, we're going to bring a camera to your home. What do you want to do? I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's all good.
Yeah.
Man.
What the hell do you guys want? And more important than that, how the hell did you find out where I was at?
We'd like to get your comments on the suspension.
You want me to comment on my suspension? You don't look like Jim Ross unless you lost about 200 pounds. You don't look like Vince McMahon. If they want some answers, they should have sent someone with some authority. Don't be snapping no pictures. I'll take your little lens and shove it. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got no reason to be here, man. You need to pack up and head back to Stanford, boy. You ain't got no business being here. You damn right. You better stop it. You got anything else to say? Because there ain't no reason you should be here. They suspended me. They said I can't wrestle. Now they want to send someone down here on my time. And that's bullshit in my book. Do you agree with me?
This whole year was great.
So don't you trip over that step or I'll kick your ass. Like when the guy.
Yeah. You better. So you better not take anything. And when I come back out here, if you grabbed anything or anything's missing, I'm gonna whip your ass. Like so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, for audio fans, look, it's O.W.P. Catch us on all platforms, or you can watch our videos on YouTube at our wrestling channel. On social media, Jess hates you.
It don't.
If you follow on Instagram or Twitter.
Let's not talk about one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, maybe the greatest wrestler of all time. Let's not do that.
O.W.P. 2019.
Let's just go. Let's go listen to Rod and Jake talk about how, like, wait a minute, if I ran my own company, this is what we would do. Fucking idiots. Just follow us.
The Elite would be the EVP for our promotion.
And we do good stuff now, by the way.
O.W.P. 2019 2019.
Huh?
Because they're going to talk over the whole thing every time I bring it up. O.W.P. 2019. You can find it. It's easy.
Doesn't matter.
Just says no. Don't look.
Don't you dare.
Look for it. Don't you dare.
Don't you fucking dare.
Or at Facebook and also at our wrestling podcast. For Jess, Cuz, and myself, this is the O.W.P. signing
the original
off.
three.
In anger. You have a good one.